Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making over a couple of chairs because my husband says I have a problem with chairs and I just seem to find them at a good deal and I can't pass them up. But he put them out by the road here to sell because he said he was just going to get rid of some. So I rescued some. These are the ones I didn't rescue. But I have some more that are in storage that I don't want him to get a hold of, so I'm going to start making over some chairs. This one here was one that was my mother's, so I'm going to make it over just to keep in the shop. But I'm going to make a shelf out of this, and I cut some boards to go on the bottom here to make a shelf, and then I cut a little facer board on the front, and then I put a little piece of luan behind the opening in the top, and so I'm just going to make a shelf out of this, and I'm going to hang it on the wall, so it'll be just a little chair on the wall that will have a shelf there on top and then a shelf on the bottom, and it'll just be some other ways of me displaying, or another area that I can display my items, but it won't be for sale because this one belongs to Mom. So here, after I've painted it in the color cotton, I'm just putting a transfer on this, and again, this is more of the transfers that I had left over, so it just fits on there, and I didn't want to put anything that had any color on it. That way I wasn't limited to what I could display on this little shelf. And I just think it's a cute little chair that it wasn't sturdy at all. So for one thing, putting that shelf on the bottom sturdied it up. My mother just used it to, she liked dolls, and so she had a doll that she had sitting on it. So I just wanted to keep this little chair, so I'm just putting this little transfer on here. I had planned on doing a few chairs today, but we were busy and time just got away, and I barely got this video finished at all. So that's why I'm not showing it in detail as much as I normally would. But I just wanted to get one on and show you these little items when they were finished. Like I said, all I did with this one was put the luan behind, which this was an old piece of luan that had been used on something else, and we just reused it. And then I painted this little chair with Boss, which is a stain block from Dixie Belle. And then once that dried, then I gave it a couple of coats of the color cotton. And that's really all I did to this, except for put that shelf on the bottom. So maybe I can do one more in detail later, but I wanted to get this chair on the wall to give me some extra display space. And now I'm going to go over this with some clear wax just to seal that in, and you could seal it in with a polyacrylic or some sort of spray clear coat. But I'm just going to use clear wax here. And the birds that you're hearing is because the weather is beautiful here, and I'm doing my voiceover on my back porch. But I did go back over this and do some light distressing, as you can see, before I did my clear coat. And now, not only is this little chair sturdy, but it's also some extra shelving for me to use. And I just love how this little shelf turned out. Okay, this was another chair that I rescued, and as you can see here, I had to take this outside because I didn't have, like I said, with the customers and stuff inside, I couldn't do the filming. So I took this chair outside and cut this back just straight off, just above the seat. And then I've added a little shelving board there, which was just a little piece of fencing panel. So I've just added a little shelf there to the top. And I did for two reasons I did that. One was to kind of finish off that bottom, and then the other was to have some sort of a shelf. But I didn't want it sticking out very far, and I might have messed up in doing that because it didn't leave me very much shelf space. So instead of this really being a shelf, you could put a little plate on it, I guess, and put your little strip of board to keep that plate on. But I'm just going to use it as a wall hanging at this point, because once I finish this, I absolutely love the way it turned out, the way it looked, but it just wasn't very usable shelf space. So maybe at some point, if it doesn't sell, I'll take that off the bottom and put a wider shelf on there. But it turns out really cute as just a wall hanger. The reason I like these chairs is, other than the fact that I have a weakness for old chairs, chairs can be repurposed into a number of things, and I'll do a video in the future repurposing some of these chairs more in detail, but I just think there's so much you can do with them, and like I said, there's so many of these that are just very unique looking and old, and so I just hate to throw old chairs out. So here I'm putting the color cotton on this, and I'm giving it a couple of good coats. I didn't have to do any kind of base coating because I'm just going to let this blue be the color that comes through when I do my distressing. So I'm just putting 2 coats over this with the color cotton, and then once that dries, then I'm just going to really heavily distress this. You could lightly distress it if you wanted, or you could put a darker color on it and lightly distress it and let it be mostly white, which this will be mostly white, but I am going to have a lot of that blue come through, and I think it turns out to be a really good look. But I do think this little chair is just beautiful. It has so many details in it, and I almost painted it with a darker color so that I could do some white waxing, but I don't know, I just felt like this chair needed to be white because it just has that cottage feel. And these chairs you see in the back are more of the chairs that I rescued from. He'll put them out there near the road and put $5 or $10 each on them, and today he said any item out there was $10, and they sell really quickly when he does that. So I hate to see that happen, but so I just told, when he took them out there, I just went out and rescued one every now and then, and I told him not to worry about it because I'm gonna go ahead and start making some over. So you're gonna see a chair every now and then in my makeovers, and I'll just add it to my vignette in some way. But I'm gonna get some of these chairs done so that he doesn't keep getting rid of them, because I have several more in the trailer, so I don't want him to start carrying those out also. It's funny because while he had that stash of chairs out there unloading them, I had a friend call me at a yard sale and send me a picture of another chair, which I bought. But like I said, when I see a good deal in a chair, I just buy it, and I don't feel like they take up that much space. And if you don't use them, you can use the spindles. So, but anyway, I'm giving this 2 coats, and I go ahead and paint the front and back, and you wouldn't have to paint the back because it's going to be on the wall. But I did because it had that dark turquoise on there, and I just didn't want that dark turquoise on the back. So once I get a couple of coats on both the front and the back and let that dry, then I take it outside and do some heavy sanding. And I even used the electric sander on this because I really wanted to heavily distress it. And then once I got it sanded or distressed, then I sprayed it with a clear coat to seal in that chalk paint. Now I could have used a clear wax, but with all these spindles, I just figured it would be easier just to spray a clear coat on it. And then once that was dry, then I just took a piece of a transfer that I had cut off from a couple weeks ago, and I used the flowers on one item and didn't have room for the word home. So I just used that part on this, and it was just enough, and the colors were neutral enough that it still kept this little wall shelf, I guess. It still kept it neutral. Now with this piece, if you didn't want to put this home on here, and maybe you just wanted to put some flowers or something, then you could, this would be a good item to put in a bathroom, and maybe put a couple of towel hooks on there. I think this would be a really neat towel rack. But like I said, it's just going to be a wall hanging here, and I may go back and make that little shelf larger on the bottom. It wouldn't be hard to just pop that off and put another one on and paint it. But like I said, I'll try to sell it first. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry this was on the shorter side. I just was very limited in time today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.